right, so today's video I want to talk about address a question that I get relatively often. I just got it on my YouTube channel on one of my videos the other day. And it's a question about what are my thoughts on training with implements such as kettlebells, maces, sandbags, medicine balls, really resistance training, dumbbells. Do I use any of it? Do I think any of it is important? Short answer, absolutely. It's important. I love these tools. I used to own a gym that was based around kettlebells, sandbags, maces, those kind of implements. Now, question I get is, well, why don't you show these implements? Why don't you show a lot of these more advanced, more complex exercises? And that's a great question. So as someone who likes to train, I like to use these. But as a coach, what I show first is the foundations. I believe very strongly in building a solid foundation from the ground up, okay? That's very important when you're doing any sort of movement, really when you're doing anything, right? In disc golf, we will get better if we really focus in on learning to throw putters first instead of going out and grabbing a high-speed driver and trying to learn with that, right? You got to build that solid foundation. So when I do a kettlebell swing or a kettlebell snatch, which I absolutely love and has carried over to disc golf, it took me over 6 months of training specifically for the kettlebell snatch to be able to do one rep with the 53-pound kettlebell. All right, so I trained all the time and I got down to the basics and I drilled those fundamental basic movements to make sure that my core wasn't going to collapse, okay? To make sure that my hips were strong, to make sure that I had good overhead mobility and that I had good shoulder stability. So when that kettlebell went up overhead, that it didn't go behind me and take my shoulder with it and take my body with it, right? To make sure my grip was strong enough to be able to handle that. Same thing with the mace, same thing with the sandbag or a medicine ball, right? So we have to look at the biomechanics of it and know that loading a movement is beneficial as long as you can earn that progression, right? As a coach, I want to see athletes earn a progression. I want to see people that I work with to be able to earn that, because once we start progressing into loads and using different implements, now we're putting at a higher risk, okay, of injury. And if we're not ready for that load or that implement or that complexity, then not only the injury risk, but also a less chance of actually being able to get what we want out of that movement, okay? So if I'm doing something, but I'm doing a movement and I'm not doing it in the most biomechanically efficient manner, if I don't have the core stability, if I don't have the shoulder or the hip or the knee or whatever it is, okay, if I'm lacking there in those regions, then that's going to limit my ability to get the most out of it, okay? You might have heard me say this before. A high performance race car is only a high performance race car as long as everything's working. Doesn't matter how great the driver is, doesn't matter how much horsepower is in the engine. If the tires are flat, or if the brakes are not working, or if the suspension is shot, it doesn't matter what else is going on with that car. Everything has to be working. Everything has to be ready to go. So I'm a huge believer in loads. I'm a huge believer in progression and in complexity, but we have to earn that, right? And that's, as a coach, I don't want someone watching a video. You can go out and you can watch on YouTube lots of videos of people doing very complex movements with very poor movement patterns. And most people don't realize when they're watching the video that that exercise is either being performed poorly, okay, or that they're not, or they're not ready for that movement that's being shown. All right, so that hope that kind of answers the questions on does he believe in kettlebells? Does he believe in barbells? Does he believe in these types of movements, or is it just body weight? Is it just prehab exercises? Absolutely not. But a lot of those prehab exercises, they're setting that foundation of movement. They're getting that core strong. They're getting that shoulder stable and strong. They're getting those hips nice and stable and strong. They're building the entire piece of that race car so that that engine can be put to full use. You have max power. Once you get in that car, you have full confidence that everything is ready to go, right? Not just a fast engine, not just a powerful engine, but that everything is ready to go. So earn your progressions, earn your movement. Be careful when you watch videos out there on YouTube or in magazines that are very complex. Complexity is not as great as we think it is. A lot of times simplicity is where it's at. Okay, so hope that answers that question for any of you who've been thinking about that or have asked that of me. I hope you have a wonderful day, a great weekend, and go train disc golf strong.